Attention passionate Seattle SEAHAWKS fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC West and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Seattle Seahawks' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Seattle Seahawks fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your FRINDS and Seattle SEAHAWKS fans. Let's get to the news. The buzz around the NFL right now is that the Seahawks might be making a major move that could redefine their fortunes for the upcoming seasons. And it involves none other than Jonathan Taylor from the Indianapolis Colts. That's right. The Seahawks are reportedly eyeing Taylor in what could be a blockbuster trade that would give their offense a serious boost. Now I know what some of you might be thinking. This is just a rumor, right? Well, the whispers are getting louder and the potential implications are massive, especially considering how Taylor could fit into Seattle's offensive identity and what that means for the team's future. Let's start by setting the scene. The Colts, currently sitting at 4-7, are in a bit of a rebuild mode. Their defense has been leaking points, surrendering an average of 26. 5 points per game, which is pretty rough by NFL standards. Plus, with a cap space of around $15 million, they're looking for ways to free up some room to rebuild their roster, especially on the offensive and defensive back end. It's no secret that they're prioritizing re-signing their young wide receivers and bolstering their secondary. But what about their running game? That's where the Seahawks come in. Sources indicate that the Colts might be willing to trade Taylor in exchange for a second-round pick and a fourth-round pick in the 2026 draft. That's an enticing offer for Seattle, especially when you consider how much Taylor could bring to the table. He's a dynamic back, one of the best in the league when healthy, and he's proven to be a game-changer. His yardage and touchdowns speak for themselves. 244 rushing yards in Week 10 against the Falcons, with 3 touchdowns on just 5 yards per carry. That kind of production instantly energizes any offense. Taylor's career stats are nothing short of impressive. Drafted in 2020, he's been a cornerstone for the Colts, rushing for nearly 80 yards and 68 touchdowns over 6 seasons. His ability to break tackles, combined with his vision and explosiveness, makes him a nightmare for defenses. His PFF grade hovers around 86.5, and he's known for his elite YAC, yards after contact, averaging over 5 yards per attempt. He's also a reliable receiver out of the backfield, adding another dimension to his game. All of this points to a player who can elevate Seattle's offense from good to elite. Now, how exactly would Taylor fit into the Seahawks system? Well, imagine him lining up next to Kenneth Walker. That's a nightmare scenario for defenses. Walker is already proving to be a versatile and explosive runner, but adding Taylor's veteran savvy, vision, and power would make their rushing attack unstoppable. It would create mismatches, especially with Taylor's ability to run between the tackles and break long runs. Plus, his presence would take pressure off Geno Smith, allowing him to play more comfortably and open up the passing game for DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. From a strategic perspective, the Seahawks could leverage Taylor's skills to dominate time of possession, control the clock, and wear down defenses. His ability to turn short gains into big plays is what makes him special. And with Seattle's offensive line playing better lately, especially after recent improvements and the emergence of young talent, the move would be a game-changer. Taylor's addition could push Seattle from a solid playoff team into a serious Super Bowl contender. But it's not just about the offense. There are defensive implications as well. The Seahawks' defense has been solid overall, but they've faced issues against the run at times. Bringing in a back like Taylor would help balance the attack, keeping defenses honest and making it easier for the secondary to do their job. Plus, with the Seahawks already boasting a strong secondary and pass rush, the added threat of Taylor in the backfield would make life even more difficult for opponents trying to game plan against Seattle's defense. Looking at the bigger picture, this potential trade could also influence the NFC West standings significantly. The 49ers are currently leading the division, but if the Seahawks manage to add Taylor and bolster their roster, they could become a real threat for the top spot. Their record could improve from the current 8-3 post-Shahid edition, and that's without even mentioning how much this would energize the locker room and the fan base. The Seahawks, already known for their resilient spirit and innovative coaching under Pete Carroll, could now have a roster that's even more formidable. Of course, there are some questions and caveats. For one, Seattle would need to make sure this trade makes sense financially and strategically. Taylor's contract situation, health status, and the team's draft capital are all factors that need to be considered. Plus, the Colts' rebuild plans might make them more inclined to accept a package that helps them reset quickly, especially if they believe they can develop other young backs or find a suitable replacement in the draft. The NFL analyst Adam Schefter mentioned that the Colts are in a bit of a rebuild and are looking to retool their secondary and wide receiver core, which makes trading Taylor a plausible move. Taylor, with his elite vision and power, could be the missing piece for the Seahawks, elevating their running game and overall offensive efficiency. His ability to break tackles, over 450 in his career, combined with his EPA per run of around 0.18, makes him one of the most impactful backs in the league when healthy. His stats in 2025, 11 games, 172 carries, 853 yards, show he's still at the top of his game, even with some injury setbacks. If the Seahawks do pull the trigger on this deal, it'd be a clear statement of intent. They'd be saying, "We're all in for a Super Bowl run," and adding a player like Taylor would send a message to the league that Seattle is serious about competing at the highest level. Plus, considering the impact on playoff odds, DraftKings currently gives the Seahawks a 12% chance, but that could easily jump to 35% or more with Taylor in the backfield. The potential for big plays, improved efficiency, and a more balanced attack would make Seattle an even more dangerous team come January. Now, let's talk about the long-term vision. Pete Carroll has always been about building a team that can sustain success through a strong running game and disciplined defense. Bringing in Taylor would reinforce that philosophy, and his presence might even help develop younger players on the roster. The Seahawks have been steadily improving on defense, and with Taylor's addition to the offense, they could become a well-rounded team capable of taking down anyone in the league. Of course, everything hinges on the details, whether the trade actually happens, how the negotiations unfold, and how Taylor adapts to the Seahawks system. But the potential is there, and fans should be excited. This is the kind of bold move that could define a season and set the Seahawks up for sustained success for years to come. So to sum it all up, this isn't just some rumor. It's a real possibility that could reshape the NFC West and the Seahawks' future. If Seattle manages to acquire Jonathan Taylor, it could be the start of a new chapter, one full of explosive runs, tough yards, and a real shot at making a deep playoff push, maybe even returning to the Super Bowl. As fans, we know that Pete Carroll and his team always find ways to adapt and improve, and this move could be the next big step towards that elusive Lombardi trophy. Keep your eyes open, Seahawks Nation, because things might just be about to get a lot more interesting. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YOUTUBE algorithm to keep recommending the latest Seattle Seahawks news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. And now, Seattle Seahawks fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this potential move for Jonathan Taylor? Do you think it's the right call? Would you love to see him wearing that familiar navy and lime green? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Seahawks organization. Remember, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for all the latest Seahawks news. Whether it's game analysis, player updates, or rumors like this one, you can count on us to keep you in the loop. Let's keep that passion alive and continue dreaming of another Super Bowl run. Go Seahawks!